Hey, what's going on, good peoples? You already know the familiar voice. You already know how's it going down. It's your boy J Raw with the J Raw Weekly Wrestling Podcast. But today I'm bringing y'all the recap of NXT and NXT UK, which was October the 7th and 8th of this week. Real quick, y'all know how I do. Knock the shout outs real quick. First and foremost, want to shout out and plug DJ Hardcore, my bro and brother in arms, CEO of DJ Hardcore Productions, and also One Struggler ENT. Got a showcase coming up November the 14th. You know what I'm saying? Look out for more information on that. Also, don't forget, we got the sports show coming up probably in about, I ain't gonna hold y'all. I'm gonna keep it funky. It's gonna be in the beginning of November, but it's definitely gonna be before he do the showcase November 14th. So look out in the beginning of November. Keep y'all posted on that with the sports show and music show. But without further ado, also want to plug one of the sponsors, the Lucky Well. My boss, Mr. Chad. Shout out to everybody, the whole staff there. Make sure you guys come out and support. Go to location down on 10th Spring Garden, also in Warrington. Don't forget Nambler. Also want to make sure to plug my podcast brothers in arms. That's Russell Cave. Shout out Geechy Geech and 30 Case. What up, yo? What up, guys? Russell Cave. Don't forget the trap podcast that Geechy Geech got going on. Make sure y'all check that out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, everywhere where you get your streaming podcasts at. Make sure y'all go out and support that. Well, stream that, I should say. And also, last but not least, shouting out all the Facebook groups your boys in. Shout out, of course, Russell Cave. Also, Wrestling Marks Worldwide, True Hills. Think that's pretty much all the main wrestling groups I engage with on the Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Also, my own Facebook group, Women and Boy Shorts. I haven't plugged that in a minute, but I'm going to be getting back on that grind with the Women and Boy Shorts group on the Facebook, Jones. So, y'all make sure you check that out. All right, so now that I got the plugs, the sponsors out, and all my shout outs out the way, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get this show started with the podcast. You already know. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into NXT, which was this Wednesday, which was October the 7th. All right, so the show opens up with the recap of TakeOver 31, which was Sunday, before they opened up in the CWC with the opening match between Tommaso Ciampa and Kushida. So the first match is Tommaso Ciampa versus Kushida. All right, Kushida takes down Ciampa with a single leg before controlling him on the ground. Ciampa counters a handspring elbow when he kicks Kushida when he's upside down. Ciampa stomps Kushida and locks in a bulldog choke on the mat before Ciampa gets to his feet. Ciampa hits a backbreaker and a leg drop for two. Ciampa beats on Kushida and grounds him before hitting another neck breaker, locking in a rear headlock before Kushida counters another neck breaker and goes for an armbar. Ciampa then counters the armbar and kicks Kushida into the announce table before knocking Ciampa off the apron with a handspring kick as we go to commercial. Now we come back from commercial and Ciampa is chomping Kushida in the corner before setting him on the top and knocking him off onto the apron before Kushida snaps the arm of Ciampa across the top post. Now back in the ring, Kushida hits a PK to the arm of Ciampa before countering a fairy tale ending, sending him face first into the middle turnbuckle. Kushida locks in an armbar before Ciampa gets to the ropes before breaking before hitting a fisherman suplex for a near fall, and Kushida counters another fairy tale ending. Kushida then goes to stomp Ciampa, who beats him to it before Kushida drops Ciampa and stomps his back before locking in the hoverboard lock. Kushida is then distracted by none other than Velveteen Dream, who ends up hitting Ciampa instead of him for the disqualification. So the winner, you have Tommaso Ciampa defeats Kushida via disqualification from Velveteen Dream. Now Kushida sends Dream out of the ring and hits the rope before sending him over the barricade. Before we get a graphic for none other than Ember Moon is up next as we go to commercial. Now we come back from commercial break, and Ember Moon is in the ring where she talks about coming back to NXT and how she's going to be setting her sights on the NXT Women's title before she's interrupted by none other than the Women's Champion Io Shirai. The two face off and Io grabs the mic. They both interrupted by the entrance of Rhea Ripley, who is attacked from behind on the to the apron by Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. Ember goes after Kai and Raquel as Io looks before William Regal comes out and make a tag match between Rhea, Ember, Dakota, and Raquel for tonight's main event. Now we cut to earlier where we see Drake Maverick, who says he's been strategizing with Killian Dane before coming up from behind telling him that they're not partners or even friends before Drake tells him that they have a tag match against Everrise. Dane then leaves in anger before Drake's follow him and we go to commercial. Now when we come back from commercial, Io is being interviewed when she says that she didn't help Rhea or Ember because it's not her problem. Only the NXT Women's title is her problem. Then we get stills of the end of the NXT title match at TakeOver 31, where Rich Holland has dropped an unconscious Adam Cole over the barricade and down the ringside before we go to the Undisputed Era backstage. Kyle blames himself, but Adam says that there was nothing he could have done before Adam says that Ridge broke his ribs and he's a dead man. All right, so next up we have a tag match with Drake Maverick and Killian Dane versus Everrise. Dane and Chase started the match before Dane slaps the chest of Drake, and Drake drop kicks Matt before Matt drops him from behind when he tries to reach and tag Dane. Dane comes in and helps Drake before shoving Matt backwards and dragging Drake to the corner so he can come in legally before Dane drops both members of Everrise and hits Matt with a running cross body before slamming Chase. Drake tags himself in when Dane starts to go for a Vader bomb before they argue, and Chase rolls Drake up before Dane breaks it with the boot. Dane then power bombs Drake into Chase for the pin and the win. And there you have it. You have Drake Maverick and Killian Dane going over on Everrise via the pinfall. Dane lays Drake out after the match with a right hand before dragging him out of the ring and carrying him to the back. So next up, we get a video package for the returning Toni Storm in Mexico, leading up to her return at TakeOver 31, and then we go to commercial. We come back to the Garganos walking their dog earlier today, where Candice and Johnny agree that she deserves a rematch before we see that Indy Hartwell gifted them a new television to replace the broken one. So next up, we have a match, Austin Theory versus Leon Ruff. Austin shoves Ruff, who hits a head scissors for an early near fall before Austin runs him over, and Ruff uses his speed to be one step ahead of Austin before clotheslining him for two. Austin then hits the ATL for the pin to win. And there you have it, easily Austin Theory going over on Leon Ruff via pinfall. Now after the match, Austin grabs the mic and says that he didn't get to warm up against Adam Cole, blaming it for why he lost against him last week, saying that he's the future of NXT. Then all of a sudden, Dexter Lumis comes out and get in the ring for an impromptu match. So next up, we have an impromptu match with Dexter Lumis versus Austin Theory. Now, Dexter drops Austin with a thrust to the throat before stomping him and smashing his face into the top turnbuckle before hitting him with the clubbing blows in a Thez press when they run the ropes. They end up at ringside before Dexter sends Austin back into the ring and hits a bulldog for 2 as we go to commercial. We come back and Dexter is in control until Austin comes back with the clothesline and hit him before hitting a standing moonsault for 2 and taking his time to follow up while mocking Dexter. Dexter comes back with uppercuts before Austin hits a snap mare and stomps him before Dexter counters with a suplex into a spine buster before Austin drops kicks him and hits a side slam into the silence. Dexter then chokes Austin unconscious for the referee to stoppage and the win. So there you have it. Dexter Lumis goes over on Austin Theory via referee stoppage. Now after the match, Cameron Grimes flies out of nowhere and hits Dexter with the cave-in. The next backstage we have Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez say that Rhea got in their business and then they're going to take care of her once and for all before we get a graphic for Prime Target looking at the fallout after the NXT title match at TakeOver 31 and as we go to commercial. We come back to a backstage interview with Cameron Grimes before we get Prime Target recapping the NXT title match at TakeOver 31 with the subsequent fallout from the match, as well as an update on the injury of the NXT champion Finn Balor. Finn's doctor informs us that Finn will be out for a little while and should be able to talk himself once the swelling is in his face goes down. Now we get a brief interview with Ridge Holland, who credits Adam Cole for the expensive car he's driving before entering in the arena, as we're told he's in action up next as we go to commercial. We come back to a video package of the North American champion Damian Priest before we get a backstage interview with him where he says that he's taking on all challengers and they will receive a reckoning. All right, so after the backstage segment with Damian Priest, we get a match with Ridge Holland versus Danny Burch. Now, Ridge takes Danny down to one knee before rocking him with the uppercut and hitting a snap mare before Danny takes Ridge down to the mat with a wrist lock before sending Ridge into the corner and stomping him. Burch hits a missile drop kick before Ridge counters with the German suplex. But Danny hits the second time before clotheslining him for 2. Ridge then comes back and hits a Northern Grit out of nowhere for the pin and the win. And there you have it. Ridge Holland goes over Danny Burch via pinfall. Now Ridge attacks Danny after the match and headbutts him repeatedly before Oney Lorcan comes out to Danny's aid and sending him out of the ring before Ridge rushes back in and beats Oney down. Officials then make Ridge get out of the ring and Oney hits a tope and they exchange in the ring until Ridge turns Oney inside out with the clothesline. Oney hits a slingshot crossbody. We go to Johnny and Candice, who are watching the NXT Women's Championship Battle Royal on their new television as they see that Indy Hartwell has saved Candice during the match as we go to commercial. Now we come back to this week's edition of Timothy Thatcher's Wrestling School, which he demonstrates a crossface. We see officials and medical personnel loading Ridge Holland on a stretcher and taking him out of the arena. And then after that, we have a match with Shotzi Blackheart versus Xia Li. Now, Shotzi immediately drop kicks Xia and hits a running splash into the corner until a bulldog out of the corner in a knee lift before Xia comes back with strikes of her own. Xia knees Shotzi in the midsection and hits a spin kick before driving her shoulders into Shotzi into the corner and setting her on the top turnbuckle. Shotzi then counters with a suplex and hits a high angle diving senton for the pin to win. And there you have it, Shotzi Blackheart going over on Xia Li via pinfall. Now after the match, Boa comes out and he gives Xia a letter before they leave together, before we get a graphic for our main event next up, and then we go to commercial. Alright, so we come back from commercial and then we have the main event, which is a women's tag match with Rhea Ripley and Ember Moon versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. Now, Kai and Moon kick things off with Ember ringing the arm of Kai and hitting a running senton for 2 before suplexing her and wrenching her arm before Kai slams Moon down to the mat by her hair. Raquel comes in and counters a Hurricanrana before hitting a running splash in the corner and tagging Kai back in, who sweeps Moon before Moon sends Kai out of the ring in a suicide dive. Rhea then hits a cannonball off the apron and takes out Raquel at ringside before coming in legally, and Raquel gets a blind tag before booting Rhea off the apron as we go to commercial. We come back and Raquel is in control of Rhea, having her in a submission before Rhea elbows her way out, and Raquel tosses her across the ring before yelling at Amber before Kai comes in and blocks Rhea from tagging in Amber. Rhea flapjacks Dakota and crawls into the corner and tag Ember, who drop kicks Dakota and lays Raquel with forearms. Ember sends Dakota into Raquel and hits Raquel with the flatliner before Dakota with a diving code breaker for a near fall before Raquel saves Dakota, and the two hit a pump kick into a power slam for a near fall. Ember rocks Raquel with a roundhouse kick before Dakota tags herself in, and Rhea hits with an electric chair for a near fall before Kai hits the chiropractor for a near fall. Rhea knocks Raquel off the apron and drags Kai into the corner before Ember gets a near fall off a discus clothesline that Raquel breaks up before Rhea and Raquel are sent out of the ring. Ember then drops Kai before Raquel hits Ember on the top turnbuckle, and Rhea and then Raquel gets sent over the announce table before Ember hits the Eclipse to Kai for the pin and win. And there you have it. Ember Moon and Rhea Ripley defeat Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez via pinfall with Ember Moon hitting her finisher, the Eclipse. All right, so that was NXT for Wednesday, October the 7th, 2020. Overall, for it to be the fallout show of TakeOver 31 that went down this past Sunday, overall it was a pretty decent NXT. I'll say this. When I reviewed Dynamite in the J-Raw Weekly Podcast, episode 16, I'll give you my thoughts on the Wednesday Night Wars between this episode of NXT and AEW Dynamite. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I had a little indigestion, belched a little bit. All right, so speaking of which, I'm going to take a little water break and get ready to do NXT UK recap, which was Thursday, October the 8th. All right? So hang tight. Peace. Oh, by the way, when I be taking these water breaks, I'm also going to be doing ad reads. So you businesses that's looking for advertisements on these podcasts and stuff like that, your boy J Raw is definitely offering an advertisement with the ad reads with the J Raw Weekly Podcast and the Music and Sports Show me and DJ Hardcore do. So if you want more information, you can email me at struggle STRUGGLE radio@gmail.com. Once again, if you want more information on the advertisement with the ad reads with the podcast, you can email me at the number struggle STRUGGLE radio@gmail.com. All right, so let me take this water break. All right. Well, to do an example of an ad read, I can do the top of my head. Once again, plugging a sponsor. One of my sponsors, lifetime sponsor. That's my job, the Lucky Well. That's barbecue, you know what I'm saying, specializing right now, you know, due to the pandemic and COVID, they just doing the takeout. But if you go to the spot down Spring Garden, definitely doing a dine, and thanks to the health commissioner and the mayor at 50%. So definitely you can get your dine on down there a little bit. Or if you just want to get some takeout, or they also do delivery via Grubhub. So just check them out. That's the Lucky Well. Got a spot in Spring Garden, 10th Spring Garden. Also in Warrington, right before you get to Warminster, a little bit past the air base. And also in Ambler, right there on Butler Pike. Okay, so water break is over. The quick ad read off the top of the dome. Now I'm saying, giving you businesses a little taste of what I got to offer with the ad reads with the podcast. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into NXT UK, which was October the 8th, which was Thursday. All right, and the show starts off with a women's tag match. Zaya Brookside and Dana Luna versus Emil and Nia Samuels. Now, Nina and Dana start the match off with Dana taking Nina down to the mat repeatedly before Nina counters into a straight armbar. Danny decides to get to her feet and drag Nina to the corner, where Zaya tags in and Nina takes control, hitting a reverse suplex. Emil tags herself in and Nina rolls Zaya before she figures out what happened, and Emil slams the face of Zaya into the mat. Zaya gets the tag to Danny, who spares Emil and then slams her before clotheslining her into a floating over suplex for 2. Emil then sends the back of Danny's head into the mat before Danny tries to tag Nina in, who denies the tag and leaves. Danny then capitalizes on the distraction and pins Emil for the win. There you have it. Dana Luna and Zaya Brookside go over on Emil and Nina Samuels for the pin. Now backstage, you got Piper Niven, whose interview ahead of Katie Lee Ray's Women Division State of the Union address later. All right, so after that interview, you have next up a match with David Starr versus Saxton Huntley. Now, Saxton stalks Jack before applying a wrist lock, showing off his strength by lifting him into the air with one arm. Saxton tosses David around the ring and hits a running splash in the corner for a knee. Saxton locks in a torture locks on David before missing the splash in the corner, and David drop kicks his knee. David hits a running cross body before tossing David, and David hits a neck snap into the ropes. Saxton then wins with a neck breaker for the pin and then the win. So there you have it. Saxton Huntley defeats David Starr via pinfall. So next up, we get a video package for the NXT UK Tag Champions Gallus as we go to commercial. Which, by the way, I want to say that video package was really good with Gallus. Gallus Boys is on top, and it was good that they did that nice little video package featuring them. All right, so after that, we come back from commercial into a backstage interview with Pretty Deadly, as well as Dana and Zaya, before we get a graphic for the State of the Union address. All right, now after we get the interview and the graphic of the State of the Union address, we get a video package for Flash Morgan Webster and A-Kid, as well as a breakdown of the rules of the tournament match that's up next. All right, so this is the main event, which was the NXT UK Heritage Cup Tournament first round match, and that was Flash Morgan Webster versus A-Kid. All right, and from my understanding, the rules for the Heritage Cup is it's 6 rounds. It's whoever gets 2 falls out of the 6th round wins, or if it goes to all 6 rounds, from my understanding, whoever has the most falls wins the match. All right, so round 1, they started by exchanging waist locks before A takes Flash down and grounds him with the side headlock. They exchange wrist locks and arm drags before Flash picks up the ankle of A, and A reverses the hammer into a hammer lock. Flash then gets to his feet and sends A over the top rope before hitting a springboard drop kick as the round ends. Now round 2, A takes Flash down before Flash locks in a head scissors, and A escapes into a bow and arrow that Flash turns into a pin attempt for a quick 1 count. Flash then catches A in the pin as the round ends. A and Flash exchange wrist locks and arm wrenches before Flash locks in a straitjacket and bring A down to his knees. A reverses the hold into one of his own before hitting a diving crossbody for 2. A hits a Northern Light suplex for 2 before Flash hits a moonsault off the top rope, and A counters with the Tiger Driver for 2. Flash then hits A with a poison Hurricane Rana as the round ends. Now round 4, Flash immediately hits a PK for 2 before A hits him with the Ingazuri up the top and hits a Spanish fly into a running drop kick for the pin and the fall. Now round 5. Round 5 begins when the two even 1 fall apiece before they exchange strikes until Flash hits a Falcon Arrow for 2. Flash counters with a submission attempt before headbutting A, sending him over the top rope. Flash hits a suicide dive, sending A back into the ring before missing a dive, and A locks in arm bar, then submits Flash with the Umpa Plata for the tap and the win in the second count. Now, so that means A-Kid basically went over on Flash Morgan Webster via the pinfall to get the second fall and to advance to the next round in the tournament. All right, so after that match, we get the final segment. We see the NXT Women's Champion Katie Lee Ray getting ready for her State of the Union address, which is up next. Next, we get a graphic for Walter defending his NXT UK Championship, which is in 3 weeks against Ilya Dragunov, before we get a video package of the two, which, by the way, which was a really good video package they did for hyping up, or what they say during the build, which is going to go down in 3 weeks for the NXT UK Men's Championship, Walter versus Ilya Dragunov. All right, so after that, backstage, we see that Flash has been attacked backstage, where he's found by the Hunt before Mark Andrew rushes to his side. Then we get a graphic for Dave Mastiff versus Joseph Connors, and Imperium's Walter and Wolf will team up against Ilya Dragunov and Pete Dunne, which is announced for next week's show. All right, so now we get the final segment, which is the NXT UK Women's Championship. Katie Lee Ray, champion Katie Lee Ray comes out to the ring to do her address for the women's division. Now, Katie Lee Ray says that she's overcome the odds and showed the doubters wrong when she retained against Piper Niven. Nina, Danny, Adolphe Valkyrie, I think that's how it's pronounced. Isla Dawn and Amel surround the ring before everyone brawls and Katie Lee Ray escapes before she runs into Jenny on the stage. Jenny and Katie Lee Ray go at it backstage as the brawl continues in the ring at ringside before Jenny brings Katie Lee Ray back to ringside. Adolph then comes off the top rope and takes everyone except for Katie Lee Ray out and down onto the mat before Katie Lee Ray leaves and admires what she has incited as we go off the air. So that was pretty much the whole NXT UK in a nutshell, which was a great show. It's definitely building up. I'm going to say I'm looking forward to that championship match with Walter and Ilya Dragunov. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Bull is a beast. Like he brings that fire and that intensity to the ring. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what he do against Walter. Definitely looking forward to that. And I think reading the tea leaves, it's definitely going to be a match between Jenny and Katie Lee Ray. I'm definitely looking forward to that match as well. But, overall, both NXT shows were pretty good this week. Glad to be back in the fold. I've been watching good wrestling so long in this pandemic and been killing me. I couldn't pod to give you guys my takes on them and, report on and stuff like that, do what I do. But I'm pretty glad I'm back in the fold. If you didn't get a chance to check out earlier this week, I did drop the recap of TakeOver 31, which I watched Sunday, and I did recap Monday on it. Yeah, it was Monday when I did it. So it's up on Castbox, which is castbox.fm.com, or you can get the app. It's on Spreaker. It's on YouTube via Spreaker. And it's also on SoundCloud. So you can check those sites out and get the stream of this week's recap I did of NXT TakeOver 31, which was a pretty good takeover. It wasn't too bad, you know what I'm saying? I'm probably going to I might end up rewatching it. If not tonight, definitely tomorrow. I'll probably rewatch it. Oh, definitely going to record the J-Raw Weekly Wrestling Podcast. I'm definitely going to have that up for you guys tomorrow. Drop that. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get in the habit of doing it on Saturdays, but today I was chilling doing, some other stuff with the music. You know what I mean? Y'all do know I'm still a DJ and music producer beside the podcasting thing. So, and I definitely wanted to make sure to record the NXT reviews for you guys as well. Get back on that. I am going to do a recap of the G1, but it'll be something small. I may do a long, lengthy one, who knows, depending on time and work schedule and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. But that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I was trying to keep it under half an hour, but just went over 3 minutes, so it's all good. All right, so you guys, real quick, want to give my shout-outs. Shout out, of course, the One Struggle family. Of course, starting first and foremost, DJ Hardcore Productions. Like I said, look out for more information for the showcase coming up November 14th. Look out for that. Shout out to Nose G, Reno Bryce. Can't forget my man Flames Davidet, KJ, you know what I'm saying? Hot Rod and Bushes, them Bush boys, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. Once again, can't forget the sponsor, one of the sponsors, lifetime sponsor, of course, the Lucky Well. Shout out to my boss, Mr. Chad. Also the Facebook groups. Also shouting out the Russell Cave. Don't forget, Trap Podcast is out. Shout out to Geechee Geech, aka Geechee Don. What up, boy? Also 30 Case. Don't forget, shouting out all the Facebook groups. Russell Cave, of course. Russell Marks Worldwide, True Hills. What up, Sid Puller? Make sure y'all check out the latest episode of True Hills and all the good wrestling knowledge he bring to y'all. Support all the Thorough Wrestling Pod. Oh, yeah, I want to definitely. Oh, how could I forget? Shout out to Fightful, where I get all my news and reviews from, because I am a faithful supporter of Fightful Select with the Patreon. Shout out to SRS, Jimmy Van Zandt, Mr. Warren Hayes, all the whole crew over there. Shout out to Fightful. That's pretty much it. Make sure to look up for this on castboxbox.fm.com. Don't forget, it's going to be on Spreaker. It's going to be on the YouTube channel. Don't forget One Struggle Radio on YouTube, and also One Struggle Radio at SoundCloud. All right. So I'm going to end it on that note. You guys, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Look out for the J-Raw Weekly Podcast, episode 16, coming to y'all by tomorrow. Peace.